KNRS News brought to you by attorney Matthew J. Story. I'm Abby Bonnell, 6:03. State lawmakers will consider a right to die bill for terminally ill patients this session. Representative Rebecca Chavez-Houck is behind the Death with Dignity bill. It would allow a person with a terminal diagnosis access to a prescription from doctors that could end a person's life.
I think as a state with the fourth highest suicide rate in the nation, we should not, as a matter of policy, establish state law that says suicide is an option under any condition.
Jean Hill, government liaison with the Catholic Diocese of Salt Lake City, appearing on Rod Show tonight opposing such legislation. KNRS listener Jill has multiple sclerosis. Her reaction:
It's going to debilitate me. It's going to make it where I can't walk. I can't live the life I want. Like I said, I've been blessed. I know I'm very lucky, and I know there's a lot of people out there worse than I am. But my main concern and my main question, what gives somebody else the right to give me my choice of how I want to die?
Under the bill, terminally ill patients would have to sign a legal document. 2 doctors would review and prescribe the lethal drugs, and there would be a 15-day waiting period. A Salt Lake City police officer needed surgery earlier today after the top of his ear was severed by a suspect armed with a metal lawn ornament. 23-year-old Leon Hall booked into jail. KNRS News. You'll find it at the top and bottom of the hour, anytime at knrs.com.
The shootout at the OK Corral.
Women's rights on gay rights.
Here's the world we live in.
And I apologize to nobody.
And with leadership, we can do it again.
Election HQ, the fight for the White House and control of Congress. A weekly conversation about the 2016 election. Joining Rod to analyze the major stories of the week is former Chief of Staff for Senator Mike Lee and now political strategist Boyd Matheson.
All right, is this the nuttiest campaign you've ever seen in your life? Boyd Matheson is joining us for our weekly chat about the campaign. Boyd, how are you?
I'm doing good. I think we just need to have a laugh track to start this segment because each week we're both just kind of chuckling just a little bit harder. It's so unbelievable.
Yeah. Boyd, I've got this tweet I want to send out that Mike Lee is coming back to Utah to get a change of clothes and is thinking about the 2016 race. Do you think anyone would believe me?
Hey, you never know. It could happen.
Yeah. I mean, this whole kerfuffle between Carson and Cruz and Trump right now and all these attacks, what do you make of it today? This is just nuts, Boyd.
Yeah, it's very classic silly season is what I like to call it, where, the campaigns are getting so hypersensitive. They're all, there's a 27 different conspiracy theories that roll out every day. I mean, I've dealt with several today, just, campaigns, calling campaigns and saying, oh, they're saying this and this campaign's saying that. And everyone's got a conspiracy theory of what's going on. And then people just start saying stuff. And so it really does become political silly season, which is unfortunate. Because that often keeps us at a very safe distance from actually having a dialogue about the issues that actually matter to the country.
Personally, Boyd, I think Donald Trump is making a bigger fool of himself today, calling on Iowa to nullify the results and to take the votes away from Ted Cruz tonight. How silly is that?
It is. The thing you have to keep in mind with Donald is that what he does best is reality show TV. And right now, if you looked at this race as a reality TV show, it's kind of at that arc where interest was starting to wane. They're starting to lose viewership. And so that's when you do something really crazy. And I ultimately think that's what will unravel Trump in the end, is that arc's going to keep going and he's going to go more and more crazy to get the ratings or to get the buzz. And ultimately, I think that'll be his undoing.
How interesting was it, in your opinion, Boyd? Because, there was all kinds of stories that they were going to get a record turnout in the Iowa caucuses on Monday, and they did. And a lot of people thought that would help Donald Trump, when, in fact, it may have helped him a little bit, but it also helped Ted Cruz, and it also helped Marco Rubio.
That's right. And everyone did say that if it's a big turnout, Trump's going to dominate, and it will be a blowout. And if ever there was a moment to restore your faith in the American people, I think it was in Iowa, because people actually stopped and really thought it through. And I think they started to project, what does this person look like in the White House? How are they going to represent my issues and the things that matter? And I think that's where things started to change. I think that's where Rubio had such impressive momentum down the end, even though a lot of it was underground. There was this energy coming, because as you listen to him, there are things about Marco Rubio, whether you like him or not, that just ring true, that are just purely Americana at its finest, and it rings true. Ted Cruz has that, tough as nails swagger, and we're going to do the right thing come heck or high water, and that started to ring true a little bit. And I think people looked at Trump and said, I'm really not sure what's in that package. It's really entertaining, but I'm not quite sure I want to open it up, because I think I'm going to own it at the end.
Yeah. How different is New Hampshire from Iowa?
Night and day.
Night and day.
Really? Night and day. Iowa is very heavy on the social issues, and New Hampshire is going to be much more on monetary policy and those kinds of things. So I think you'll see an interesting shift. Now, we're going in, once again, with Trump having a very large lead beginning. But I think you're already starting to see that erode a little bit. I think the real critical players in New Hampshire are going to be the three governors, Bush, Kasich, and Christie. I believe only one of them gets a ticket out of New Hampshire. One of them has to do incredibly well, and if they don't, I think they're done. I think that John Kasich has a very interesting story. He has a populist element to him, but it's based on very conservative principles. So it's a lot of the things that Republicans should be talking about: upward mobility and real opportunity for the middle class, and ending some of the cronyist privilege at the top. So I think if there was any one of those three, I'd say you ought to watch through the weekend. It's John Kasich. He could catch lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. And then I think Rubio and Cruz have to prove they can parlay Iowa into something more than just Iowa.
What is the likelihood of Trump, Cruz, and Rubio finishing the top three again in New Hampshire on Tuesday?
I think the momentum will keep playing that way, but New Hampshire has this real contrarian streak to it.
Yeah,
they sort of like to swat back whatever Iowa does. And one thing that's really important for listeners to realize is, with as much hoopla as there was about Iowa, you have to get 1,237 delegates to win the nomination. After Iowa, Ted Cruz had 8 delegates. Trump had 7 delegates. Rubio has 7 delegates. So we got a long, long, long way to go. So anyone who's saying this thing is all done, there's almost 1,300 delegates left that someone's going to have to garner one way or another. So it's going to be a long slog.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. I want to ask you, in your opinion, Boyd, I saw Paul Ryan just a short time ago on the Greta Van Susteren show, and he was talking about this effort where it is important to him that we've got to, he's saying we've got to unite conservatives. If we don't unite conservatives, we don't have a chance come 2016. I mean, how big of a task is that?
It is a big task, but there is a model. Whenever everyone talks about Reagan, we always talk about 1980 as if Camelot fell out of the sky. And you have to go back to 76, where Reagan did the ultimate in take on the establishment. He took on a sitting president, Gerald Ford. And even though Ronald Reagan was clearly the candidate for the ages, he lost, and he was a pariah. He got blamed for Jimmy Carter and Democrats having both houses. But what Reagan did between 76 and 79, he took all of those things that we were against as a party, and he turned them into a positive agenda of what we are for. And that is, in my view, the only possible way to unite the base of the party with the establishment of the party. You do it around policy, and I think that's where Paul Ryan is spot on. As you know, Rod, it's where Mike Lee has spent the last 3 years, is rolling out this positive agenda that I think can unite the party. And I will say that people should watch where Mike Lee is, because he is one of the few right now who really can play that role of uniting the party. Marco Rubio, I thought, did a very nice job in his speech in Iowa when the results came out, of talking in those terms, that, we do have to unite, but we don't just abandon principles and all that. We unite around an agenda that really promotes what this country is all about. And that's what we have to watch for. I think Paul Ryan can play an important role. Senator Lee will play a critical role. Marco Rubio is clearly getting the script right in terms of how you can unite the country and how you can unite Republicans and conservatives into a real thing. And so it's going to be very interesting. I think the next 3 weeks will be very telling in terms of can the party unite, and are they willing to do it around an agenda? Are we willing to stop, burning heretics, and are we willing to go into places and win some converts instead? And I think that's going to be the telling sign, not just for who the nominee is going to be, but whether or not the Republican Party is really capable of taking this thing all the way to November and winning the White House.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, and we write another chapter next week after New Hampshire. Boyd, as always, great chatting with you, and talk to you next Wednesday night.
Hey, thanks so much, Rod. Make it a great week, and we'll chuckle some more next Wednesday.
All right, Boyd. Boyd Matheson, former Chief of Staff for Utah Senator Mike Lee and a political strategist. He joins us every Wednesday at this time as we talk about the fight for the White House and control of Congress. All right, coming up next, we'll talk with one of those men involved in Benghazi. That's next on the Rod Arquette Show. Right now, we're talking with Dan from Bullfrog Spa, taking center stage today on the Rod Arquette Show. And Dan, I want to talk about, why does a family want a hot tub? I mean, what are the benefits of a hot tub or a spa in your backyard?
What we're finding, maybe the biggest benefit to spa ownership is that the cell phone and the device, they don't go in the spa with you. So if you want to talk to your kids and actually have a conversation, it's a great opportunity to have a Bullfrog Spa in your backyard.
It's kind of like a modern-day dinner table.
That's right.
I mean, think about it, right? You have got some great sales going on. Let's talk about what you've got going on right now at Bullfrog Spas and Saturday, so people need to rush down and find out about the information right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've put a kind of a deal together that we're offering across all of our stores. So we're talking Logan, North Ogden, Holiday, Salt Lake area, our factory store in Bluffdale, down in Orem. We have actually a nice big new store down there where all of our remaining 2015 models that didn't make it out the door before the end of the year, and our dealers around the country have moved on to the 2016 models. We need a home for them, and so we've got a clearance sale going that started a couple days ago. We're going to run it through Saturday. And we're talking about savings of an average of $3,000 off of what you would normally pay on these models. We're seeing payments as low as $99 a month, $89 a month in some cases. And these are brand new spas with a full factory warranty and supported and serviced by a local manufacturer.
Yeah, and you've got to get down to any of your factory outlets by Saturday to get on this deal.
Right, and like clearance sales go, the selection changes from day to day, and so the sooner the better in terms of really the best opportunities on the best remaining models. And there's a bunch of them as of right now. So come to any one of those stores and you'll find some great deals.
Great sale ends Saturday, so you need to get on down to Bullfrog Spas. They have factory outlet locations up and down the Wasatch Front, even up into Cache County and certainly down into Utah County. You can get all the details at frogjello.com. That's frogjello.com. And remember, sale ends Saturday. Let's get news update right now. Here's Abby.
Thanks, Raj.